Hi and welcome to Kingston Technology. So today I'm going to talk about Kotlin classes, and I'm going to talk about simple Kotlin classes. I won't talk about the superclasses and subclasses in this episode. So we're just going to be brief about it. So basically, a class is a blueprint of an object, and an object is an instance of a class. We have already used some classes without our knowledge. If you have used the ints, the strings, there are things that you can do for an integer and you cannot do for a string. So the objects that are created, they always have the things that they know about themselves, the properties and the things that the objects can do, which are the functions or methods. So basically I have my a Kotlin I have a Kotlin file that I've created already, and I have it's under the project which is called project dog. And to create a file, you just come here and then click on Kotlin file and class. For this, I'm using a file so that you have the flexibility of having different classes here, and name the file. So mine is dog, so you can create yours if you don't have any. And to create a class, we use the keyword class followed by the name of the class. Now creating a class, you can create a class that has secondary and primary constructor, or you can just create one that does not have. So I'll create in both ways. So first we'll start with a class that does not have primary constructor, and we will say that a dog has a name. So a dog has a name, and the name is of type string, and maybe we would say our dog is Tommy. And then we have a dog has a breed, and the breed is a string, and would have a default breed which is mixed. And we have a dog has weight, so weight of a dog which is an int, and we will say 89. And then a dog barks is just like one functionality. A dog can eat, it can roam. So we're going to print line that the dog, okay, let me just say woof. And now to create an instance of the class dog, we need to do this inside the main function. So we have a val my dog is equals to, now we invoke the dog class, and the dog class here we did not have a constructor, but the compiler inputs an automatic empty constructor, so we have to use these brackets while calling it. And if we call my dog to access the properties and functions of an object that is an instance of a given class, we use the dot operator, and you see we can access the name, weight, breed, and the function back. And if we run this, we can see that it inherits the function back, and it actually outputs the function back. Okay, now the other way of creating a class is using a primary constructor. Now we have to shift all these properties into the constructor. So we'll take the file name, So we have our properties on the primary constructor, and now you can see we have an error here. It's because we have not passed the parameters that we have specified on the primary constructor. So we need to pass the name. I'll call the dog Tommy, and breed could be mixed. And once again, if maybe we want the print line, the name, so if we do that, the output should be Tommy and then woof woof. Yeah, the name of this dog is Tommy and then woof woof. So basically that's how you create a class that has a constructor over here. I will add a bonus tip. So you might want the name of the dog to be a capital letter, to be in capital letters, and you don't want to have to call the function uppercase on the main function. You can do this by just having, maybe changing a little bit here, the name to be just an input, and it's not a value, it's not the main property. So the main property will be val name is equals to name input dot uppercase. So basically what you're doing here is you are changing the input. If we run this, we should see that Tommy will output in capital letters. Tommy, yeah, you see. So basically there's some things that you can do inside the class instead of making those changes on the main function. Well, I will also talk about initialization blocks, and maybe we these, what initialization blocks help us with is they let us run a code when there is an instance of that class. So basically we can have a very simple code that notifies us when there is an instance of a dog, if there is an instance of a dog that has been created.
So this would say maybe a dog by the name has been created.
So let's see what happens. So you see the code, the line on the initialization block appears the first because this happens immediately when this instance of a dog has been created. So when the instance is created, anything that is in between the initialization curly braces, the code is executed. So you can use initialization blocks to initialize arrays of different things. Maybe you have a class of a notebook and you have different topics that should always be there. Now those topics, you can put them under an initialization block to the point that every single time an object of a note is created, it has all those topics. More on that in other episodes. So I will also talk about setters. Setters help us to validate a value before inputting that value into a given property. So let's say let's take an example. This weight, let's say that this weight is just a parameter. All right, this weight is just a parameter, and this weight needs to, we need to check in case someone wants to change the weight after, like maybe you say my dog dot the weight which is not there now, that's why there is an error, is equals to maybe -7, that will bring a lot of problems to our applications, because dog should not have a negative weight. So we utilize the setters, and for that maybe we have a var weight, now the weight that we will use, and then we give it, we say that this weight is equals to the weight parameter, the weight that the person will input on the constructor, and then we call a setter on it, and we say that of the weight, sorry, is greater than 0. Then the field of the value weight is equals to the field of the weight is equals to now the value that someone might want to assign. So basically this will save us from people making changes that do not actually make sense. So let's see an example over here. Now, since we have the weights, we can say that we specified that the weight is 89, but now we change it to is equals to, let's say, -9, right? -9. Now, if we borrow this code and print the weight of the dog, you see that the weight has not changed. It's still 89 because because of this setter over here, it's not able to update the weight property if the value that we are inputting is less than 0. So let's see if we input something that is more than 0 and it's not the one that we had here. Let's see what the output will be. We see that the output has changed because the number that we fed the weight is greater than 0, but anytime we use a negative, it will just take the default number. So setters are good, but in Kotlin all that is already defined for you. Now I will also talk about getters, and we can say now maybe this weight that we are getting from the user is weight in pounds, and we want weight in kgs. So with that we can create a function that actually changes the weight in pounds into weights in kgs. But we don't really have to create a function. We can use a getter that will tweak the weight in pounds and return weight in kgs by dividing it by 2.2. So weight in kgs, when divided, it will become a double. So remember that the getter returns a given value, and that value must be of the same type as the variable that you are creating. So for us, we are creating a variable weight in kg that is a double. Then we call get on it. We call get, and we say that get is equals to the weight, this weight, and this weight is in pounds, and then divided by 2.2. So if we are to access let's say the weight in kgs, we should see a double. Yeah, so you see that the weight in pounds is 78, and then the weight in kgs is 35 point all that. Well, I'll just add something else here. We can use the properties that we have already to change things in our functions. So example, in such a function, we can say that if the weight in kgs is greater than let's say 40, then we have a big dog, and a big dog will woof woof, and then else we have a small dog that will basically yip. Okay, yeah. So in this example, when we run, we are not supposed to see wolf, we are supposed to see something else. Yep, yep, awesome. Yeah, so we can also have all this in just one line without having these curly braces, and remove the body. So if you click on this and go to here, convert to express body, you'll just have like function back is equals to print this and this if this and this, or else print this and this. So basically that's our episode on classes. Join me in the other episodes as we cover more about classes, superclasses, and the subclasses, and more on inheritance and polymorphism. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you've not subscribed, just do so that you can help me grow this channel and we can share more information. Thank you so much.